Hello. Welcome, Alp. Thanks for the YouTube membership. It's Friday. That means I just play whatever I want to from my back catalogue. Because if I just played your unfinished games and nothing else, I would go crazy. So this is my little list at the moment of things that I've still not got around to playing. And there's lots of other things that I still haven't got around to playing that should be on this list. But this is the list of things I intend to play because I like the look of them. And I remember to put them on the list. The list should be 4 times longer, but thankfully I don't remember them all. So yeah, I wanted to check out Trash the Planet today. A resource management game that subverts clicker mechanics to serve its narrative rather than manipulate the player. So we're doing a clicker with story stuff in it, made by a team of 5. I think you can just play it in the browser, so I'm gonna play it in the browser. But yeah, I heard about this one via the Short Game podcast, which is a really good podcast for oh yeah, it's the same website. Really good podcast for checking out just shorter games. So shout out to Short Game podcast. Listen to that pretty regularly to find out about these kind of smaller indie games that are, you know, interesting, polished games, but relatively short and don't take up much time. And this one stood out to me as potentially interesting because I'm not a big fan of clicker games, not a big fan of incremental games. I had to play a lot of them back in around, I don't know, 2017, because I was working on one at a mobile studio. And I don't know, I think deep down I would like games to be things that generate memories for people and not just kind of fill bits of time in their day. There's a place for that. But as indie developers, I don't know why you would be trying to fight with Candy Crush or something like that, which often feels like you're doing if you make a kind of time filler type game. So the idea of a clicker that has some story element or is using those mechanics to do a different thing rather than just fill time while numbers go up is appealing to me. Yes, we want the noises. How to gather trash and influence raccoons. Oh, I've got... this is how many raccoons I've got. Okay. I've got 5. They're all gathering food. New raccoons won't join until you've got food saved up in a well-sorted trash pile. You're the leader of a group of raccoons looking for food to survive. They like trash. We're going to diversify. We're going to get some trash as well. We're going to put 1 on trash sorting. So the trash gets sorted and I guess it gets randomized into these other 6 things. You approach the cans with the gang to snatch trash, but suddenly, clang, the human is mad that you're near their pad and they're making a terrible bang. Oh, it's a poem. The music is throwing me off the cadence of the poem a little bit. The human is holding their ground, and when you next look around, your friends are all gone across the back lawn. Scared by the human's big sound, you consider the options at hand. What does this crisis demand? You act in a flash, with cutie panache. The human astonished. How grand. Okie dokie. So I'm gathering food and trash. And then we need the food for the raccoons to be able to work or they become hangry. We've got 11 raccoons now, so we're going to put 3 on that. So they're gathering trash, and then the trash is getting sorted to these other things. Wood, metal. It's like rock, but a little more upset. It's a good description of metal. Near a carnival dumpster with friends, the feasting seems like it won't end. You eat elephant ears, corn dogs for years. This trash is a glorious blend. Your friends make a toast for the night, then a worker comes into your sight. He dumps some new trash, another bountiful cache, with the new treat that's so pink and light. Now everyone pokes at the fluff. This sure is mysterious stuff. It could be good food. But you're not in the mood. Let friends eat till they've had enough. These are quite frequent to be reading aloud. I'm not. Did anyone ever write a limerick with 3 stanzas? I don't know. That's too many verses for a limerick in my mind. I think limerick should be 1 verse, surely. I don't know. I'm not the limerick police. I don't know how these things work. One day while out far on a lark, you stumble on a new type of park. While big wild creatures live in decorative features, their caged lives seem rather dark. You also see kids, little twits. They point and laugh, flinging their spit. They taunt the great beasts, hands full of sweet treats. This whole scene has you to a fit. I feel like the 2 parts of the game are fighting a little bit. This is the experience I had with not Fallen London, Sunless Sea, where it's like there is a part of the game that involves motion, like driving a little boat around, and then there's a part of the game that involves reading, and the reading like interrupts the motion in a way that my brain just doesn't like. Now, if this all carried on going underneath the poem, I'd be fine. I'd take my sweet time reading the poem. But there's like a sort of slight UX problem with presenting a poem that pauses the automatic incremental bit. Morning, kitten. So we've got a feed of what our raccoons are doing down the right. It kind of reminds me of Fallout Shelter, when you send people off on quests and they have the little list of things they're doing. This is a cool format. I really like this format. I just wish the story fragments were a little bit shorter and didn't pause the rest of the gameplay. You find something particularly special. It's a mirror. Detritus Ex Machina. I think we've achieved sentience because we've seen ourselves in a mirror. We've got a research thing now. Human studies. Develop the science of studying humans, the creators of the trash source. Time to study some humans. You now understand the complex cocktail of emotions that these poor hairless creatures possess. We've unlocked the message board, whatever that means. We live in a society. Hey everyone. I know we've all recently become aware of ourselves, learned to read and write, and have started constructing rudimentary shelters. It's a lot, but I wanted to post this up and let everyone know that it's okay to just chill. Changing your entire conception of self and society is a lot to go through, so it's totally valid to take some time for yourself. This is our raccoon treehouse that we're living in now, because we've got society. We've been cursed. We've been cursed with the knowledge of self-awareness. Anything else we can research about the humans? Well, we can bury food to start farming. We can make shelters. Humans spend most of their lives inside of specially constructed boxes. We too can dream such dreams. Human language. Apparently those noises they make actually mean something. Put some wheels on an old washing machine and just load that sucker up with trash. We're gonna get so good at trash. Breaking news. I've been studying humans and I've noticed that they say things like breaking news to get attention. That's just one of the valuable lessons I've learned. I think it might be worth setting up a permanent way to research them. What come next may shock you. Haha, sorry, just practicing. Looking for someone to trade some sub sandwiches, which are food I can eat, for a large collection of golden doubloons, which are pirate treasure and rather inedible. Thanks for your consideration. I'm just going to read the bits of text that I find interesting, which will mostly be the story and flavor text and not the rules explanation. I think we get how the game is working. We've got a food resource that we need to keep high or they'll stop working. We've got trash that needs to be gathered, and then the trash is sorted into the different resources we use for our research. And I guess that works in a sort of random way. There's 6 different resources. It seems like bones, plastic, and cloth are sorted at a lower rate, but that might just be the randomness getting us. Might just be RNGesus. Food necromancy rules. We can build farms. Cool. And it's got a little American Gothic picture with raccoons. Those of you who are watching this because you're working on an incremental game, look how much stuff this game has in it, and look how kind of polished it is. And then bear in mind, okay, this was made by 5 people, but they've also made it free. This is a free game. It's just something you can play in the browser on itch. And I guess, you know, maybe it's kind of a portfolio thing, or I don't know. It was if we look back onto the itch page, you can see it was entered into some jams like Finish Your Game Jam and stuff like that, where those are like the open jams on itch where anyone can submit a game they're already working on, which I think are a great resource. Excited new food from the ground. This is an announcement for all raccoons in the community. Last Saturday, as I was messing around burying stuff for fun, I noticed that some of the food I buried a while ago was growing something. Get this, it was growing new food. Anyway, I think we should all get together and bury more food and see what happens. Maybe we could even section out some unused land specifically for this purpose. My mind is really buzzing with ideas. I'd love for someone to just come hang out by my food growths and chat with me about all this. We've got our first little raccoon farmer. We're gonna develop human language last, because that seems like a curse. We'll get the trash carrier so we can get trash quicker. That's gonna speed things up. They've got to be even numbers or multiples of 5. I don't make the rules. Make another farm, because we can. We've finally cleared the landfill closest to the trees. Having a raging party there tonight, just like we used to have. Bring your own food and trash. We've got a lot of chips, maybe some desserts, some desserts I guess, or drinks or whatever. We're just happy to have you. Don't forget your party attitude. Woo! Randy, disregard this message. This is what I want out of an incremental game. I want little story rewards for doing the incremental game. Because I don't find all this inherently interesting. This is a game that will produce some memories. I will remember this game. I don't remember my 6 months of playing Tap Titans and things like that because nothing happens in them. Just a waste of my life. That feeling when you tip the trash can over, it's like, oh, and then it's like, haha, you know what I mean? No more pointing at restaurant menus while looking up at the waiter with an expression of polite contrition. We've got human language now. We're going to get more raccoons. That's just increasing our recruitment rate, I guess. The scientific method. Label maker. Counterfeiting money. I like how these create a little story in your head. You earn more resources when sorting trash. Signal ownership over friends and foe alike by sticking labels to them. I think we've maxed out how many raccoons we can have now. We put everyone on trash sorting because we've got loads of food. Something like that. Idea of man looking for the idea of woman. You, a raccoon in a fedora, preferably few holes, and a decent smelling trench coat. Maybe you found a pipe or a broken toy gun around. Me, a raccoon in a stunning blonde wig, red dress, and expertly repaired heels. Meet me under the pig branch at the back of the tree. I must perform the awful gender play of the humans. I crave their pain. It's funny because it's true. That's what raccoons do. Trash sitters wanted. Going on vacation to a different tree soon, but I've noticed that when I leave, a lot of my paper and plastic trash gets blown away. Looking for someone to sit on my trash while I'm gone. You can have some of the trash, but not all of it. Must have 3 to 5 years of sitting experience, large butts only. I have been blessed with a lot of trash. Okay, what do we want first? I always want the more resources because then we can upgrade the other stuff quicker. We can make some shelters. And then we can increase our maximum number of raccoons. Let's put 4 shelters in the build queue. How many do we get each time? Comes with one bless this mess welcome mat. Doesn't tell us how many raccoons we get out of it. We've got our label maker. Speeding up building. My 3 raccoon partner, 3 raccoon, and I are looking for trash. Please contact us if you have trash. All trash considered. No non-trash bartering. Too long didn't read. Looking for some trash, thanks. I love it when people put a TLDR after a very short paragraph. That's funny to me. Easy to make and free of consequence, just like a fire. Building speed increased. Right, what's the last build thing, the last research thing we've got? The scientific method increases job efficiency. I guess that just makes all of these things go a bit faster. That's great. We've got scientific raccoons now. Put some more on food. That seems to be our slowest growth area. Our slowest KPI, food stores. Lost my ha 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 shut up wallet. Me, a person, ha 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 dude stop, was walking around on only 2 legs. My dumb brain could not keep track of my powerful paper holder, the wallet, ha 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 ha, and I lost it. Please find my wallet. Otherwise, I cannot exercise my power as a tall, nearly hairless mammal. Oh my crap. I can't do this anymore, ha ha ha. Holy crap, wow. I know, it's too good. Did you get all of that down? Why are you still writing? Oh, just stop and post whatever you've got. They're pretending to be human. See? Any optimizers watching will be very upset that I'm wasting time reading and not just putting... not even numbers. I'm not going to assign that one because I'm not going to have one of these numbers ending on a 7. That would be terrible. That would be terrible for the... That's okay. 72 I can deal with. Powerful potions. Yes, come closer to this note, stranger. Perfect. I'm looking for a powerful potion that can help me fulfill my worst desires. What are they, you ask? Oh, you didn't ask. Well, would you like to hear them anyway? Keep reading. Yes, wonderful. Consent is an important part of any interaction. So what I want is a potion that will help me pop a pimple so hard that I fall over. I warned you it was my worst desire. These ads are wild. Raccoons. I don't think we should have given them human language. A book house. Speeds up trash sorting. This is like a house for raccoons, except only books live here. This is how a civilized society shows respect for books. It's true. Ah, finally, nothing to do now but put these cool sunglasses on my face and read these books. Yeah, I really wish the game didn't pause when we got one of these pop-ups, because I think, with an idle game, you should be able to walk away and leave it. Like, all of this shouldn't pause. Upsetting. Deeply upsetting. Anyone seen any baby shoes around? I don't care if they're used or not. Just love the dang things. Hit me up. I'm not going to explain that reference. That's a reference. Gather trash. What's happening? It's just... Oh, it's going so fast we can't see it anymore. Okay, that probably means we need to sort the trash quicker. Advanced stealing. Unlocks the next act. The stock market is basically just a giant trash can you can pull value from whenever you want. Okay. Advanced stealing is the stock market. We're doing anti-capitalist Well, they're not anti-capitalist. I think the raccoons are becoming capitalists, and that is the sort of satirical angle of the game. They're learning to be humans, and in doing so, they're inventing all these bad things. Some of the things aren't bad. Farming. Maybe farming is bad if you're a locust or something like that. I hope they let us ring the bell on the big screen. Welcome to the big leagues. Okay, so that unlocks the next act. I wonder if the next act is going to be mechanically identical in terms of what we can sort of see and interact with on the screen. But we've invented the stock market. We've got all our little raccoon ticker tape around here. Here we go. Ah, here we go. Yeah, we've got the trash marketplace. So we've got a slightly different interface. We've still got story on the right, mechanics on the left. Cash raccoons everywhere around me. That's a Wu-Tang reference. I'm an adult raccoon. And I'm the mayor. Hello. What's up? Nothing, I guess. Who are you? Oh, my bad. Sorry, I'm the CEO. Here's my card. Money baby, CEO of Raccoons. I make the money, baby. Cool. Elephant operator? Lol, I'll be your financial advisor, basically. Okay, great. My name is TK. That hover over blur out effect on the faces is great. What are you? Are you really a baby or an adult? I'm an adult. I just love money, baby. I also just saw Austin Powers for the first time. How do I get games on this phone? All the world's a game, and all the creatures in it are merely gamers. Lamau, my phone's predictive text typed that. Okay, what are you advising me to do? I'm advising you to make as much money as possible. Okay, what are we doing? It's a MOBA, basically. Like the tea with the bubbles. A manipulated online banking adventure. It's a term I'm trying to make happen. Basically just make a lot of money by playing with the stonk market. Okay, let's do it. Be aggressive with your money. Don't stress if you lose it all. I can make it back in a day by tricking one of the human empires into starting another war. Wonderful. It's neat. I'm ready to make mega millions. Oh, that's my favorite emoji. We're going to be best buds. I hope I don't get too many of these, like, kinetic novel phone conversations, because I get the point. I get the point. There we go. Just click a few times and it lets me skip. We've got culture, death, finance, human resources, and they have keyboard shortcuts for buying stocks. That's why they said it's like a MOBA, because that's where my hand would be if I was playing a MOBA. Business botany. We've got a bit of mechanical crunch here now. It's not what I expected. Trash, the good stuff. Business beans, full of the complex blend of vitamins and minerals that every budding capitalist enterprise needs. Business beans. The business botany. We spend business beans here. Don't really understand this, but we'll work it out as we go. Don't quite understand the dice mechanic either. So trash is our actual... It says dollars here, but is that... I don't have any trash down here. Okay. Oh, okay, there's my cash up there. Got it. I'm vested in death. Okay, so these... I thought these were for purchasing stuff, but these are like powers. Okay, so we've got these keyboard shortcuts for these powers that I thought this was for buying these shares, but they're not. Bin side of training. Rapidly increase trash prices, but market volatility increases. The dice one is roll for 50% chance to double your money or cut it in half. Okay. So I've got 20... Oh, I lost half my money. Okay. Bear down. The price of one random share price falls while the other share prices rise. Generate 2 times more trash for 10 seconds. So I should always be pressing R, really, because that's just always good. Okay, I'm going to click through this, because... We've got some advisors. Wait, are you a cool teacher? Calls my name and teaches the game. What's good, buddy? Cracks a cold one and puts on some shades. What is that text between the asterisks? So yeah, if you've just come in, this is like this is called Trash the Planet. It's a free game on itch.io, made by a team of 5, I think, and it's like a clicker with narrative elements about raccoons gradually learning to do human things and take over the world. And I've just got into the second act. The first act, you're just collecting food and trash and starting to build homes and learn to speak, and you get like a little message board. And this second one has gone into like business mode, and we've got a stock market and a mobile phone. Okay. So this is our... okay, sell some trash. And then I can increase the trash prices, and then I'll be able to buy more shares, I think. If I do both these at the same time. Yeah, no. I've got a bean. Just, I'm looking for this number to be high, so when it's above $20, then it's good. But if it's significantly higher than $20, then I need to sell. There we go. It's sort of like watching for when it's at $22 and then clicking sell. J Killick, thanks for checking in. What kind of things do you look like to look out for when you play other games in terms of game design? I don't know. There's a couple of different angles on that, because when I'm giving people feedback on their game designs, I would focus more on what they are trying to do, you know? Like, does the game achieve that thing? So, I don't know, earlier in the week, for example, we were looking at a racing game on Wednesday. I don't play many racing games. I'm not like a racing game aficionado, but I can look at the racing game and go, okay, if I was looking to play a racing game, what would I want to get out of it? And then see if that game is delivering that thing. That would be an example. So, I think when it comes to actually just playing things for fun, I'm generally looking for like a baseline level of quality of execution of the thing, and then some element of novelty, which isn't a very exciting answer, but that is generally what people want out of games. People want a bit of novelty, but they also want the thing to be easy to play, which means that it needs to sort of be in line with what they expect. Have we got any more business beans? We haven't. So I think the way these business beans work is I get one, and then I can choose any of these power-ups to add on based on that. Let's try and double our money. I'm not sure I like this gambling mechanic. Yeah. Is there a way that I can make that better? Triple your money on a successful roll. That's good. Right, I need to unlock that next. Because at the moment, always having a 50-50 chance for that to lose doesn't seem worth doing. Because it just averages out. If you know, use it 10 times and you win 5 and you lose 5, you've just ended up with the same, haven't you? 75% chance of success, so you can choose between those things. These shares are getting really expensive now. See if I'm going to wait for the price to go back up to... It's not going up to 20 again. So the investment powers are, so Q increases the trash prices, W doubles your or loses your half of your money, E, the price of one random share falls while the others rise. So that's probably not worth using until I'm close to having like 250k, because I won't be able to buy any of them anyway. If I drop one of the prices and it just goes down to 100k, I still don't have 100k. So and generate so R, I should just be hammering every time I can, because it just generates more trash, which is your main resource. So in Act 1, we've built up our kind of trash farming empire, and now that's operating in the background that we've moved into Act 2, and now we've just got this selling trash to get money and then playing the stock market with it. It's a fun little progression. Okay. That's better. Here we go. I think there probably is an Act 3, yeah. Pro tip, if you use the concept of acts in your game, people are going to assume that there's 3, because of the 3-act structure. There doesn't have to be 3, but as soon as you put the text Act 1 up in front of players, they're gonna assume that it's one of three. Okay, the base price is staying up now, which is good. Yeah, we should never let the raccoons become like people. Buy a share there. Buy a share in that. Shouldn't have used it. Yes. Leave the trash pandas be. They don't need to be like us. There we go. Now we're really cooking with trash. Right, we're going to use the finance thing to lower the cost of something. I still can't afford anything. Drat. Yeah, so it's the first and fourth one that you're kind of using all the time, really, and then these middle ones are the ones you need to actually strategize a little bit around. Cap, no. Don't do it. It's evil. Let the pandas be pandas. The pandas? Let the trash pandas be trash pandas. I'm investing in culture. Going big on culture. So it's probably better to go all in on something, because then you level it up, and then I think when you level it up you get a bean. Because I've only had one business bean to spend on one of these upgrades, and that was from the death. Leveling up the death mechanic. Oh, that dropped so fast then. It went from 90 to 30. So I've been thinking about what I would do if I made an incremental game, and I think I kind of... I really like the idea of making a game about managing a record label and having all these little made-up bands. And then maybe doing it in an OS simulator where you're like clicking around in a computer and opening up the banking app and opening up the reviews app and stuff like that. But I think building an OS simulator where you can actually click and drag the icons around in the interface would be quite long-winded, so I might try and see if anyone has already made a template for that. But I think a band, like a record label could work quite well for that kind of thing, because it's like it's a very clear number go up thing. You know, units sold in tens and hundreds of thousands and stuff like that. Why can I not sell that? Why can I sell that but not that? Is it because I have to always have one? I don't know. Okay, I'm only selling when the unit price is above 90. No. That's my new thing. That's my new shtick. That's my new business strategy. I'm the guy who doesn't sell below $90. I could do this. If this is what it's really like, I could totally do this. Someone just needs to hook the stock market up to a video game interface and I'll be all over it. So much stonks. It is a little long-winded, yeah, but I mean, that is incremental games. I think this game is actually a lot faster than it could be, because we got through Act 1 in like half an hour, and I think... I don't know how long this act is going to take. It might be one of those things where I have to just, like, save it at the end of the stream and come back to it in my own time, but hopefully it'll be enough to give people a sense of what the game is. It's definitely an interesting genre to try and do something satirical with, though. Because, like, I get how these mechanics are satisfying. So, if anyone who's working on an incremental game, I totally get it. It's like, it is a satisfying set of mechanics. I played so many of them when I worked on an incremental game on mobile back in, like, 2017. And... like, when you're in a commercial game studio, that means, like, you look at everything else that's on the market and you play it and you take notes and stuff. And I don't have any memory of playing those games. Most of them. It's just sort of really meaningless. Yes, this does require quite a lot of concentration, yeah. The first bit of the game was a standard incremental game. It was much more like, if you've played a Dark Room, where you just start off like collecting wood or something, and then it just gradually expands out, and you're doing all this this section of the game isn't automated. They've tried to do something different with this section of the game. I keep selling at like 20. What am I doing? Are you going to give me an upgrade? Because I don't care about... I don't want to talk to anyone called Money Baby Academy. Okay, this is just like a... This is to teach you this bit of the game, which we've just worked out on our own, so I don't think we need that. Finally got enough to buy another culture. The trash price is at an all-time low. Disappointing. Okay, I'm selling at 20 now, because the low is so low, so I'm going to set 20 as my new decent sale goal. So I'm just watching for that to get to 20. Culture. There we go. Okay, we're aiming for 50 now. Not dropping below 50. Trash coin. The funny thing is, the Money Baby avatar does have this totally has a Bitcoin salesperson vibe about it. Okay. We're aiming for 20. Selling on 20. Not selling on 12. What do you take me for? Some kind of mug. $1 a unit? This is like the bad old days. Means of production owned 13 out of 40 billion shares. Basically 0% market share. Okay, we're selling with no, we're sticking. We're gonna sell at 20. I'm not. Okay, I'll go down to 10. I'm cutting my own throat. You're taking me for a ride. I'll take $10 and not a cent under. Cutting my own throat. You're trying to diddle me. You're trying to have me on. Here we go. Here we go. Riding the wave. Right, I'll not take a nickel under $50. Trying to work out like the efficiency thing of if you never sell anything, do you lose more just purely from not having sold anything in that space of time? I guess this is why the big bucks guys earn the big bucks, isn't it? It's just meaningless risk and nothing else. No value. Or just all value. Value that is so value related that it has no anchoring in anything in reality anymore. It's just pure value. Converted entirely into stonks. I'm becoming very stonk market pilled by this game. The trash bubble, yeah. Doing nothing productive, making bank, going to Dubai, clicking your fingers at people, going to restaurants, shouting garçon. Wearing Gucci underpants. This is the life. Garçon, where are my Gucci underpants? Buying super yachts. I think me, the human being, doing an impersonation of a rich human is probably not far off from the raccoons in this game doing an impersonation of a human. What's the next layer above a mega yacht? Super yacht, mega yacht, ultra yacht. I mean, I know we talked before about how we should do like a game jam, just patent trolling Nintendo. Just a game jam about summoning things. Just every game must be in violation of the Nintendo patent. I like the idea of a game where you play Pokemon but you are oligarchs and you're fighting with your yachts. And they're not like directly fighting, they're just sort of... They're just... all of the combat moves are some sort of act of showing off. My favourite RPG role, yeah, oligarchs. I've been watching, there's an Amazon series called The Peripheral, which is an adaptation of a 2014 William Gibson novel. And that's got some good oligarch action in it. That is a theme. So I haven't read any Gibson since the Sprawl trilogy, which is like the 1980s set of books that is kind of some of the essential cyberpunk reading. And he kind of stopped doing that classic cyberpunk, but this one is a bit more like that. And I don't know if that's because of the TV adaptation puts more of it back in or whatever, but a recurring theme in his work is that the sort of people who become like CEOs of massive international corporations sort of cease to be human. He always characterizes them as these kind of strange technological vampires that just... their entire perception of reality is totally different from a normal person, which I can totally see. And I kind of understand why there are all those conspiracy theories about stuff like Bohemian Grove and how, like, you know, rich people do this, that, and the other, because it's very hard to conceive of someone who could just, like, solve... I don't know. There are people in the UK right now who could very easily solve financial crises in, like, education or healthcare or something like that, and they just choose not to, because they're inherently bad people. And it's very hard to conceptualize of someone who is that bad, who isn't also, like, you know, eating babies and performing ritual sacrifices and stuff like that. Yeah, Smugpie, you'll like some of the bad guys in... I think in Neuromancer, the first Sprawl Trilogy book has that in. There's... they're called the Tessier Ashpools. They're a group... They're like a family of aristocrats, and they have a space station. And it has, like, all of their protected assets on. I won't tell you what the protected assets are, because that's part of the fun, spooky excitement of that. But, yeah, very good set of audiobooks of those on Audible. Even if you do have to listen to a white guy do loads of Caribbean accents. The classic William Gibson audiobook problem. See, what I needed to do was just zone out and talk about Cyberpunk for a minute, and then we get money. As soon as I'm concentrating on the game seems really slow. If I don't concentrate on the game is perfectly paced. It's almost like it's some kind of idle game. I love the way that the illustrations in the background change as well. It's just enough to feel rewarding when you see a new one, but they're not like, they're not super ostentatious, because they're all these kind of muted colours in the background. Okay, now that we can afford a share, we should use the finance thing. But now it's made that too expensive. I'm going to start buying natural resources shares. This is what they call diversifying your portfolio. But in game mechanics terms, that's not really what we're doing. We're just elongating the time it's going to take for us to get an upgrade. Alas. I'm going to use the death gamble because my money is so low that it doesn't really make much difference. We're going to get up to 200 a unit? No, okay. Just going to sell a unit every time I see the numbers gone up. I think maybe I should be triggering the finance thing more often because it randomly picks one to make cheaper. I'd be a very bad gambler. I'm quite impatient for things like this. One of the reasons I didn't really get into Balatro was I didn't know all the baseline poker hands. So that created a little bit of a barrier to entry for me. So most people know the hands in poker. I do not. One of the reasons for that is when I was like the age when most people would learn poker, I went to school with quite a lot of kids who were a lot more well off than me, let's say. So I come from a part of the UK where we still have selective schooling, and I somehow passed the test at 11 to get into the fancy school. It's like a private school that is funded by the government, so it's meant to be like a better school, but through this kind of test it means that kind of more working class kids get to go to that kind of school. But that meant that I was not super well off in terms of like my parents' jobs and stuff like that, when they both had jobs, and I went to school with lots of kids who had a lot more money than me, and like their parents bought them cars when they were 17. They would do things like, you know, give them rewards of money for their grades at school and stuff. All of that totally alien to me. And when we got to the age where people were like starting to drink and play poker and stuff like that, I just looked at people playing poker and I was like, you are playing a game where you are losing 20 or 50 quid. I can't afford to do that. So I just refused to learn how to play poker. And to this day, I have refused to learn. And the thing is, I know that if you know how to play it and you enjoy it, and then the kind of gambling element can really add something to it. That's one of the things I think it's Quinns who does Shut Up and Sit Down, and People Make Games often talks about that. It's like, there are certain games that if you play them for money, it just totally transforms how the game feels to play. But yeah, I was not in a position to learn a game that was just gonna lose me money. So I didn't, and that's why I don't play Balatro. Yes, we finally got a business bean. Progress. Right, what's the most productive thing we can spend it on? We can make the gambling work better, so we can make it so we have a 75% chance of success, and that means that we should just be rolling the dice every time we get a chance to, because three out of 4 times we're going to double the money, and 1 out of 4 times we're going to halve it, which should lead to an overall increase. We've got finance 2 shares drop in price while 2 rise. That can wait till later. Produce twice as much trash. Well, let's get fracking. Yeah, we want this because at the moment this power up is useless because it averages out. But if we can kind of use it all the time, then it will actually benefit us in a way that it hasn't been so far. So that's why I'm putting my upgrade bean there. I'm really hoping I get rid of this cold over the weekend. I want to record the script for the next big video on Monday, and been kicking my butt for 2 weeks this cold. It's what happens when you have children and they bring germs into your house. I need to build one of those decontamination archways outside the house, like some sort of dystopian sci-fi. Spray everyone. Come on. Unit price back up, please. Here we go. That's what the queue does. It makes the unit price go higher, so... if you do the natural resources before the culture, then you've got the best chance of success because the natural resource puts your trash up. Oh. Okay, I need to watch for when that's about to run out because it drops loads after it's finished. I would love to be a bubble boy. Okay, so we're going to do the when the culture cooldown comes back, I need to actually watch for this purple thing and sell right at the end of that power-up. Yeah, this is far too deep for it to really be an idle game, but it's an incremental game rather than an idle game, I guess. That's the distinction. I can't really see why you would want to sell these shares. I guess there is a reason why you would occasionally sell them in order to... but the values don't really change these, because they're not really shares, they're an upgrade thing. Like the Pope-mobile. I'm gonna build myself a Pope-mobile, like a tiny one. Okay, we want to get natural resources cooled down. We trigger that, and then as soon as that's done, and we've got lots of extra trash, then we do culture, and then we sell all of our trash when the culture is just about to time out. Okay. Oh, it doesn't tell us how long it lasts for, that's why. Okay. So I'm just going to sell throughout the boost then. I think that's the way to do it. The price keeps rising, but you can't wait until it reaches a peak because you don't get told how many seconds are on that cooldown. Tiny Pope-mobile. It would have to be like a little ambulance, surely. Tiny little ambulance. Just roll up in my tiny ambulance and then open the window and go, "Your game is rubbish," and then drive off again. That's it. If we get to the point where the channel is ever making, you know, let's say twice UK minimum wage, can you imagine? If the channel ever gets to a point where it's making twice UK minimum wage, I want to recreate I made that little outro sting that's like a hospital drama. I want to make like the deluxe version of that. I want to be resuscitating like a Game Boy cartridge and stuff like that and cutting things open, and I don't need to redo the music. I think the music on that bit's a banger. Often if I sit down and I try and make a particular type of music, it goes completely not in the right direction. But when I sat down and tried to make like a hospital drama theme tune, it turned out perfect. So that was weird. Okay, this isn't very high, so I'm gonna gamble a bit more here and try and wait for it to go up to 70, I think, and then sell. Just start selling like crazy. We got another business bean. We're beaning. Bean me up. I think this is the least useful. Market temporary freezes at the increased price before crashing. That might be useful. Florida, the market never crashes. A state made of pure sunshine that seems to drive anyone inside it to live with frivolous energy. Oh, these cost 3 business beans. Okay, so we need to get something from the first column. Produce twice as much trash while Let's Get Fracking is active. We'll make the bonus last longer. Then I don't have to press the button as often. What was the monster fighting game? Oh, Power Champions. Was it? Oh no, yeah, okay, yeah. The Astral Arena. Astral Arena it was. Yeah. Look, I don't even mind when the art assets are too polished for the game. That's not the issue. The issue is the art assets are too polished for the game and people are going, give me money. That makes it look like a con. It makes it look like you haven't... in that particular case, it was like the basic things that the player is doing to interact with the game don't feel good. And you're saying, wish this game. You need to build up confidence that players of your game are going to have like a good experience, rather than like making something look really good and spending so much time on that and then just like, yeah, that's the sort of thing that annoys me. Sometimes people just over polish early on. That's, you know, that's the thing. That's going to be maybe an inefficient way of working, but sometimes people need to do that. Sometimes people need to know what their game's going to look like to be inspired to make the rest of it, and I totally understand that. It's specifically doing that in the context of like not really having a gameplay core and then asking people to sort of support the project and stuff. It's like, you don't really have a game yet here. Why are you starting to go into the market with it if you don't, you know? Yeah, good experience for... Yeah, exactly. An experience that doesn't have the gameplay core there, that is like presenting itself as more finished than it is, you know? Like, to use Atomic Lance as an example, Smugpire. So anyone who's watching who doesn't know Smugpire in the chat, Smugpire in the chat is working on a game called Atomic Lance, which has a lot of the DNA of an Armored Core game. And, you know, I would say when you're making a game like that that's an homage to another game, it's quite an easy sell, because you can show it to fans of that game and they can just basically judge it in relation to that other game, and they can say like, is this game close to Armored Core, or is this game close to Pokemon or whatever? And that is what they will do in their head. And you know, you got to a point with that game very, very quickly where the bit that makes the game fun is already there, right? The variety of weapons, the kind of game feel of flying around and shooting stuff. Sometimes people just spend so long making the thing look like a finished game, and then you play it and it's like none of the core of what makes this type of game work is here. And that's not great if you're then marketing that thing and asking people to, you know, wishlist it and stuff, because it sort of indicates that you think the gameplay is good enough to be doing that with it. You totally should get your game in front of people, get people playing it and getting feedback, but again, getting feedback and selling something aren't the same thing. Atomic Lance mentioned. I mean, it seems like you've got quite a lot of traction with that, so I don't think... Developers, yeah. Yeah, you can tell because you get those really boring Steam descriptions where there's no sense of what the fantasy is or what, you know, what's supposed to be cool about what you're doing. It's just like, it is an RPG. Your character has stats. Groundwater tree, yeah, that's a really good example. It's like baking a cake by making it out of cardboard and painting it so it superficially looks amazing. Yeah. Gotta eat the cake. It's like people that get into cake decorating and then haven't learnt the basics of like how to make a cake that tastes good or doesn't fall over. And you have to care about both those things. I think in this case, I think does the cake fall over is the programming and the engineering. Like, are there bugs and glitches? And the does it taste good is the gameplay, right? I think that's a little bit more important than the does it fall over. It still shouldn't fall over entirely, but the way I see it is when you give people a game to play, it shouldn't have too many issues in it that you already know about. Because when you give people a playtest of your game and you say, oh, you know, playtest this, but there's this wrong and I haven't done this yet, they won't really listen and they'll still respond to those things. If you say, oh, there's only one level of this game, that's not a good example because a playtest probably should be quite short. But if you say, oh, I know there's this bug where it crashes if you do this, they'll still do that and then go, oh yeah, there's this bug. So you need to like engineer the thing well enough that it at least works. Because otherwise people's feedback will just be, yeah, it doesn't work. And you'll go, yeah, I know. It's because I gave you a build that doesn't work. So I kind of know that it doesn't work. You want playtesting to be playtesting and not QA, basically. It takes a very special kind of person to be able to playtest a game and like see past placeholder and stuff like that, which is why it's worth having other developers play your games, because developers do tend to be... So the problem with developers playtesting your games is sometimes they will just have their own taste in game design and they will say, you should make this other game that I have in my head, rather than what you're making. But other developers do tend to be the people who can see past the fact that your game has bugs or placeholder assets or whatever and just look at the specific part of the game that you're trying to get them to look at. I've got a business bean. Better chance of getting the share that we want when we do finance. That's good. I've never cooked anything with raw flour in. Right, and this is why we do game jams and stuff like that. It's so that the times when you're just practicing something don't have to produce a saleable output. The cake analogy that keeps on giving. New message from Money Baby. Jet ski legacy. See, I want to be able to access the messages with the game still running. It's really annoying. Jet ski party this weekend? Maybe. I've never jet skied before. I guess I couldn't afford one. Seems like a luxury. No way. Anyone could afford a jet ski if they wanted. We've always had them in the family. And your family is super rich. We're not rich, just comfortable. So you can't just assume... So anyway, you can't just assume people can afford jet skis. Okay. We're doing the alienation of upward social mobility now. I'm rich. I get to hang out with rich people. Oh no, they're really annoying. Oh no. I think there are some interesting lessons in writing satire in this game. It's like, if you've got something to say with a game or a story or whatever, you probably need to have more than one thing to say. Because if it's just like beating you over the head with the same message all the way through, it's not going to be interesting or amusing or anything. Whereas what this is doing is like... it's taking lots of different angles on it. We've just had a text message exchange with our financial advisor who is telling us to come to a yacht racing party and being really quite annoying. And yeah, this assumption that it was kind of like the, you know, millennials can't afford houses because they buy too much avocado toast type conversation. You couldn't make a whole game out of that, but you can make one gag out of that. To raccoons, if you gave a raccoon an avocado, would they like the avocado more than the seed of the avocado, or do you think they would like the seed more than the actual fruit? I can imagine an avocado seed being like... it's not called a seed, is it? It's a stone? A stone. An avocado stone, I can imagine that being like a legendary relic for a raccoon. Got another bean. I can't afford anything else until we got 3 beans though. What's left is the remainder. Lead Trash Commandant of the First Order of the Remainder reporting. Hey, what's up? Pretty long name. Yes, it's the title given to me by other trash collectors. We have a very important hierarchy. I don't really care about that. All will return to trash one day, whether you care or not. Alright, that's enough. Yes, sire. I am texting to make a report. We have improved trash. Great. I agree. It's much better now. How, though? Oh yes, sire. Excellent question. We have fully automated the trash production line, which allows more time for worship. Thanks, Dirt. One request. Anything, my liege. The one true trash master. The prophet who brought us out from under the heel of the trash creators. Okay, so 2 requests then. 1, take it down several notches. 2, let's take a break from texting each other. As you command. I shall meditate on the remainder in the meantime. Sounds good. Okay. They've improved something. I don't know what they've improved. Yeah, I think the trash production just goes up as you increase these levels. The global business level is just the sum of all of these levels. So every time you buy enough stocks in one of the things, you get a global level, you get a business bean, which is like an XP point, and I think the overall rate of accumulation goes up. So yeah, if you're trying to min-max this game, then focusing on whichever of these is cheapest and leveling it up quicker is the route. The route to stonks. Oh, I can sell with the space bar. I don't even need to click. We could fully automate the stonks. It is really like a MOBA. Oh, I thought I could... Oh no, it's S to sell. Okay. Do you think the one-button combos in games like Hades or Cult of the Lamb make the gameplay more monotonous? Possibly, yes. But I think the thing about Hades and Cult of the Lamb have a very specific kind of genre space that they're operating in, which is they are trying to be a little bit more casual than that game could be. Right, you look at those games and you watch the combat, that could be a real kind of like Souls-like type combat. But they're not really going for that, and that's why, you know, when Hades came out, a lot of the journalistic focus on it was, this is a more casual experience. Even if you don't like this type of game normally, but you like the look of the art and the world, you should play it because, you know, you carry over resources between runs, you upgrade and stuff like that. So Hades was always going for a slightly more casual audience, and that's a good fit for the game because it has this emphasis on the characters and this like visual novel element, which will have brought in people who don't normally play very hardcore action games. And the same with Cult of the Lamb. Less story driven in Cult of the Lamb, more just the cutesy kind of tend and befriend cozy game mechanics. Those things, the story and the cozy stuff, are going to bring in players that are not used to very hardcore action games. So I think, yeah, in both of those games you probably have a combat system that is not as exciting as it could be for people that exclusively play high skill level action games. But the reason those games did very well, possibly the reason you even know what they are and we're always referencing them, is because of those elements that make them more accessible and more casual. And when you're designing a game and you're sort of working out what it is and who it's for, that is always a thing to think about. It's like, what parts of this game are really... what parts of this game make it potentially more accessible than a similar game? Because people don't think about this stuff. There's a book by Jesper Juhl called The Casual Revolution, and he kind of really goes into depth about like defining what makes a game casual. And I've seen a lot of people operating in the indie dev space that haven't really grappled with that conversation or that definition of what makes a game more or less casual. So you get people saying stuff like, oh, idle games are really popular right now. Why are they so popular? And it's like, well, because they don't have any skill requirement. Isn't that obvious that a game with no skill requirement would have a wider target audience than a game with a skill requirement? But people don't. People just think there's this kind of like amorphous popularity that has nothing to do with people. It has everything to do with people, and it has to do with like, how much time have people over their life invested in learning how to do a particular thing? I had a partner once who just simply couldn't play any game with first-person controls because she hadn't played games like that, and they made her feel motion sick. So she couldn't play something like Minecraft, which isn't a first-person shooter, because she hadn't played first-person shooters and learned how to play them, and wasn't invested in the idea of learning enough to want to learn them. So, like, when you're kind of working out the potential appeal of a game, what is the barrier to entry? Because you've got these two extremes. You can make a game that caters to a very specific hardcore audience that know how to play that type of game, or you can throw the net a bit wider. Again, like Balatro is a good example of that. That's a game that anyone who knows how to play poker can play, and weirdly I'm outside of that group of people. But the group of people who knows how to play poker is actually a lot bigger than the group of people that would be interested in something like Slay the Spire, where it has like a fantasy setting and these kind of combat dueling mechanics that remind them of something nerdy like Magic the Gathering or something like that. So yeah. The question is, yeah, it does make the gameplay more monotonous because it's more accessible and more people can play it, and that's always the trade-off. You know, something that is more accessible to a large amount of people is going to be less interesting to people that are super into, like, the hardcore skill-based version of that gameplay. Doritos. We have a large number of new specialized training wings for dermatology, ophthalmology, renal medicine, intensive care, tendon research, oncology, sleep specialists. Doritos. A lot of your answers to game design questions are in people, they're not in games. I think a lot of that as well is what you should bear in mind when you try and mix two things together. So when you say, oh, it's this game mixed with this game, what is the actual overlap in terms of the people involved and what they like? Or if you take a game and you retheme it, you're like, I'm going to make FTL but with a pirate ship. Okay, so do the people that like the game mechanics of FTL, does a pirate ship also appeal to them thematically? Probably does. You know, there's not a big gap between people that like space and people that like swashbuckling, I would think. But you know, sometimes you see people mixing things together, and I'm just like, would the same person like both of those things? I don't know. The answers to game design questions are usually to do with people, not to do with games. But the kind of game dev meta conversation that's constantly going on here and on Reddit tries to put the answer in games and in the games industry, whatever that is. The answer is not there. The answer is in people. The answer is in people's like life experience and their like the baseline. What does it feel to interact with the game stuff is like human psychology stuff, and then the why is this popular usually comes down to accessibility. You know, what have people played throughout their life and all of that kind of stuff. You know, the reason why mobile phone games have a much larger audience than PC and console games is you do not need to buy a specific device to play that game. You can play it on something that you already have that you've bought for more practical reasons, and that means that people who feel guilty about playing a game, people who don't have any time for themselves, like, you know, like people like middle-aged parents and stuff like that, are more likely to play a free-to-play game on a mobile, because it doesn't require them to invest in a special console or have all of this experience of playing particular types of games that require them to use particular skills and stuff like that. And I think if you're making indie games, you're always looking for the sweet spot of, like, I don't know, Smugpie, good example actually, Atomic Lance. That is a game for sickos of a particular type of game. And sometimes if you're making a game for sickos of a particular type of game, it is worth doubling down, because instead of trying to make a game for everyone and doing it badly and no one paying attention, you can very specifically go, okay, what would Armored Core fans who like anime girls like? And you just make every design decision in your game based on what would Armored Core fans who like anime girls like. You know, having a clear top level game direction and creative direction makes it easier to make decisions about what you're doing, because you're not constantly second guessing, because you've got a very specific idea of who your audience is and what they're into. Let's go for that, because that's going to upgrade us quicker. This segment of the game is so much longer than the first one. I hope we're able to get into the Act 3 in the duration of this stream. Yeah, I think that would be a way of doing it. I also think, like, I'm trying to think back. I haven't played Hades since it came out. I'm trying to think of my experience of Cult of the Lamb, because that's more recent in my memory. I didn't find it too monotonous, because I think those games are more about positioning rather than the specific attack you're doing. But I don't know. I'm quite happy to do Diablo combat where you're just whacking stuff and occasionally rolling out of the way. I've just gone back to Shadow of the Erd Tree on Elden Ring to try and explore more of the map, and the bosses in that game are just not fun. Just not fun. Requires me to be too good at the thing. I'm not good at the thing. I think if you're thinking about things like combat and monotony, though, one thing to think about is just... I think if your combat or your action requires people to focus, like, really intensely, then how do you create moments where they don't have to focus really intensely? How do you create moments of rest, you know? And something like a Dark Souls or an Elden Ring does have that quality. It's like, you get through a combat and you're like, whew, that was really hard. And then there's a little bit of walking around and looking for things or jump puzzles or whatever. The problem I've seen, I saw this in the big wave of Bullet Heaven Survivors-like type games from last year. They would take the formula, make it a little bit more concentration intensive by saying, oh, you need to do this other mechanic like aiming or something, and then just not give you enough breaks. So there's just no kind of roller coaster of intensity, just like da 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 all the way up. And I think when you make those kind of top level decisions of like, oh, I'm doing Hades or Cult of the Lamb style combat, but I want it to be a bit more involved, so I'll have more combos and stuff like that. You have to think about like, how do you give people a break? Because even if that core gameplay is more exciting and more interesting, by virtue of the fact that you made it more varied by having more combos and more weapons or whatever, you still need to think about people's overall like curve of attention and how much attention they can pay, or they will get burnt out even if they like it. You sort of have to save people from themselves a little bit with stuff like that. something, get good, scrub something. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's that big magma dragon that I just walked in a couple of times, and it does its attacks, and I just think, there is no way I'm learning how to get around these attacks. Yeah, I haven't played Mecha Break. I tried to play Risk of Rain 2 recently, and that was my experience of Risk of Rain 2. Because Risk of Rain 2, it's like, you're just being attacked constantly, and there's no breathing moment to like walk around and just check out the environment and stuff, because there's just always stuff attacking you. And it just makes me think, well, what's the point in this being in an environment? This might as well just be in an arena if you're gonna beat me up the whole time. Ding dong. Hey. Ha 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 ha. What? You just answered to the name Ding Dong. I thought you were ringing the doorbell. Oh, your phone? Lamau, you're such a moron. Anyway, my school is like totally out of money. Where did the money go? Oh, wait. I just realised I took a limo to school like every day last month. Shoot. Seriously? No. Is that it? Cool teacher. What's wrong with you, cool teacher? Have I got the dialogue stuck? Oh. Cool teacher broke my game. Hello? I'm ready for the report on what's cool these days. Oh yeah, I thought you just suggested that to be polite, but no worries, I've got some ideas. What do you collect? Just figurines from Sailor Don't Sink Her trapezoid transformation era. Not rhombus rescue dancers, to be clear. Thanks for clarifying. Do you play with the dolls? They are figurines. And no, I display them. And that's fun. It's incredibly fun. I love the thrill of the chase. All of the figurines on my shelves are stories. They're successful hunts. No. Skateboarding in a graveyard. That's what's cool right now. Okay. I'll believe that. I can get with skateboarding in a graveyard. We're quite a way off from getting our next bean now, unfortunately. Managed to sell right at the end of our little culture boom there. That was good. Okay, this is cheaper, so we're gonna invest in death this time, whatever that means. So after you've used finance, these are kind of shuffled, so you then have to reevaluate which is the cheapest thing to buy. Yeah, Jin, I agree. The game outside of the game, yeah. It feels kind of obvious when you do it in a video game, because even in like obviously in Hearthstone you can't trade cards, but you do have like the going through the menu, building the deck, you know, dusting things down and stuff. That definitely still feels like it's part of the game to me, so why wouldn't hunting for trading cards in a, you know, in a store or in a whatever, be part of the game? Mayonnaise, I think if you want, the thing is, so yeah, I would, what we were talking about before about giving people a break from really demanding gameplay, I think you might have to force it, because otherwise people won't take it if you offer it. I think you might have to make people take the break. So one of the things in games as services, like in free-to-play games and stuff, they're always talking about, like, one of the key performance metric things that they use in those types of studios is churn. It's like, what percentage of players have stopped playing this month? Or when do players churn? What level do players churn at? And managing churn in a game, or like trying to keep people playing a game for as long as possible, or at least until they finish the game, managing churn is often about saving people from themselves, and that means that sometimes people will play a game in such a way that it ruins their own fun. So examples of that would be what we just talked about, like you're offering people breaks and they don't take the breaks because you're not forcing them to take the breaks, because there's no, like, a combat game with no exploration is an example of that, I guess. A game that's not organised into sessions that could be. So like Vampire Survivors, but it doesn't have the 20-minute time limit, it just keeps going. That would probably lead to people dropping out of the game earlier because they would ruin their own fun. And multiplayer games or strategy games where there's always a best thing you can do, because then people stop engaging with their brains and they're just sort of like going through the motions of playing the game, but they're not really playing the game or thinking very hard. That's a cause of churn that you will hear people talk about. In multiplayer online games, they refer to those as degenerate strategies. So strategies that stop the game actually feeling like a game. They break the game. And that might be fun to do for short periods of time, but actually, if you can do it in a long-term sense, like you break the game with a certain build of powers or items, and that's like permanent, then the game is no longer fun to you. And that's one of the things that makes like broken build deck builders and stuff like that work, is that you get this little window of time where you are able to break the game, and then you only get that for a little while, and then you have to start over. That's a really good management of that kind of thing. So yeah, the theme is really saving people from themselves, because people will play a game in a way, people will optimize the fun out of their own game in some way. So if you always give people the option of like, do you want to take a break or do you want to keep playing and getting rewards and grinding, they're never going to take the break optionally, which is, you know, why people play things like MMOs and RPGs for such a long time, is that they have quite a big set of different things you can do in, and you can go between those different things. Obviously, as indie developers, we can't do that. We can't have a million different like mini games and game modes and stuff, but we can still think about how we schedule people's time so that they get a break of some description. In Bullet Heavens, it is that pop-up of like choose what you get for the next level. It is in Vampire Survivors, it's that, and it's also the picking up the treasure chest and going the bow, what did you get? The fact it has that little wind up and you have to wait to see what you got, again, forces you to take a rest, even if it's just a 30-second rest. 10 million, 15 million. I'm going to invest in death so we can get this upgraded quicker. I mean, Cult of the Lamb has loads of different... It kind of has concentric loops. It has the game loop of going into an arena and clearing it out, and then doing that again, and then doing that again. And then it has the game loop of like doing a whole run, but then that is broken by you do a run and you go back and you build stuff. It is pretty crucial, yeah, and it's stuff that's not really rocket science. You just have to care about your players. If you approach game development, that's the difference between someone who develops games, like someone who uses a game engine and makes something that we would recognize as a game, and a game designer is a game designer. Like, the heart of game design is just caring about your players, and that doesn't mean caring about every single player. It means like knowing who the ideal player for your game is and making sure that the decisions that you make about your game benefit that person. And some of those decisions will be about appeal, like I said about Smugpire earlier. Smugpire's design decisions just need to all point towards, there's this person that loves anime girls and shooting missiles and flying around in a mech suit. It's not a mech, it's like a what would you call it, like a Armitage thing. And as long as Smugpire is making decisions that go down that direction, then they will have a happy player. That's what a lot of this comes down to. Some of it is about serving the core fantasy of that player, and some of it is about this more kind of psychological stuff of how do I save save players from themselves by making sure they take rests, or, you know, making sure the game doesn't become boring because I've allowed the player to play it in a boring way, which is a thing that happens in pretty much every kind of game. Yeah. Testing it like you're a player, yeah. Yeah, a good tip for playtesting your own game is to write down a little goal. So I learned to do this when I was trying to design board games, because I would have them up on Tabletop Simulator and I'd be playing as 4 people. And I'd have to like write a little note for each player and say, blue player wants to make as much money as possible. Red player is really invested in upgrading this thing. Yellow player really wants to block the other players from doing what they want to do. And then as I played the different players, I would just look at the goal of that player and I would just play as that player. And you can do a simplified version of that when you're playtesting your own games, when you're playtesting a single player game, by just, going into it with like, okay, I'm not just playtesting these features to see if there's bugs. I'm now playing as a player who cares about collecting all of these particular items or cares about getting this much gold. And you play with a particular mentality, and then that starts to show you whether the game is serving that particular kind of player motivation or not. You can get quite far playtesting your own games just by thinking that way, because we do tend to playtest our games as kind of QA people. A lot of the time we're playtesting to see if the features work, rather than playing them as players, and players have goals and motivations. So if you can just kind of lock in a fake goal or motivation when you're playtesting, you can get quite a lot of feedback without having to use an external playtester at that stage. We have got 2 beans. I need 1 more bean to get a next upgrade. Yeah, thinking about the difference between QA and playtesting, really. QA is, looking for problems, and playtesting is seeing if the thing is fun. Reasonably easy to QA your own work because you know what the intended behavior is and you know whether it's doing it or not. Harder to playtest your own work because you need to go in with like a kind of roleplay head on of like, what do I as a player want to do? Definitely something you can learn to do, but again, it's just the starting point is just caring. It's just caring about what the player's experience is eventually going to be, and then playtesting in such a way that you can make sure you're trying to improve it in that way, rather than just thinking of it as code and art, which is the bottom tier of developers on Steam that are making all the slop right now. Their mentality is, I made it in a game engine, so it's a game. Don't care if it's fun. And if you can just care a little bit about your player and what your player wants and what they're supposed to be getting out of spending time in your game, it will put you ahead of 90% of the people that are releasing games right now. I don't even think that's an exaggeration. You see these discussions on Reddit where they're like, this is how many games failed and didn't even recoup the $100 fee to put their game on Steam. And then people commiserating it. Oh, it's so hard to sell a game. And most of those failures will just be because the people making the game just fundamentally do not care about the experience of people playing the game. They just made a thing and go, oh, that'll do. I spent a lot of time on it and it was hard to make, so that must mean it's good. Yeah, quite right, Smugpire. Yeah, the level of cargo cult mentality. Puzzle platformers don't do well. Could it just be that puzzle platformers are often made by people who don't know how to make a good puzzle platformer? No, they just don't do well. Okay. If anything has historically done well, then it can do well again. Just you tend to get gluts of particular game types because of which games are easy to develop, because which games have like Unity or Game Maker templates or whatever. It's like, oh, this type of game's really unpopular. No, it's just people make lots of bad games in that category because they think it's going to be easy. I think the foundational problem for a lot of game dev is that, particularly when we're talking about solo developers, is that the majority of people who set out to make a video game on their own are men, and they are men with some sort of technical background, or if they don't have a technical background, then that's the first part of game development they get into, because that is the thing that you need to do for in order for a game to even exist. And because of that particular profile and type of person, they tend to be very strongly like rationalist people. So when you start trying to get them to think about other people's perspectives and feelings and stuff, which is what you have to do in order to be a good game designer, they go, not feelings, not emotion, not affect. They get really freaked out by it. And it's like, mate, you have decided to make a piece of entertainment for other people. This is not about how good you are or how clean your code is or stuff like that. It is, you know, I mean, that might be an important part of making something that doesn't crash, but it's not the foundational thing that makes something fun or not. And all of the kind of game dev meta, reading the tea leaves, trying to predict the market stuff, comes out of people being really averse to learning game design, because as soon as someone like me starts talking about game design in a very normal way, like most of what I say on this channel about game design is very normal stuff that you would find in any game design textbook, but the type of people that are trying to make a game on their own and come from a technical background or see it primarily as a technical thing are very, very averse to hearing people talk about experience and emotions and stuff. They see it as nonsense. And that is like a massive barrier to them making anything good. And that's fine. I'm fine for the rest of us who do care about our players to benefit from that sort of blinkered way that 90% of people making games are approaching it. You know, it's kind of like thinking that music, like good music, is just about how good someone is at shredding on a guitar. You know, how good someone is at technically being skilled at something, rather than making something that other people connect to. There are people that listen to guitar shredding music and love it, but they're mostly other guitarists. Like, you don't meet someone who is generally into music who likes a guitarist like Satriani or Steve Vai because they find their music really moving. That is music for people that have a kind of fetish around technique, and yeah, you're not going to sell like 100,000 copies of a game because people were impressed with your technical ability. That's just not a thing that exists. Ain't nobody got time for that. Did you know that your player is a person with a mind and feelings? I never got a chance to play. I mean, Concord was cancelled, wasn't it? So no one's... Has anyone actually played it? The only thing that I saw or heard about Concord that I found even the slightest bit interesting was that they based all of the costumes on Mobius, not Morbius, the French comic book artist. Yeah, trying to out Overwatch is always going to be a difficult one. I haven't really been keeping up with Cuff Bus Mayonnaise. I've seen it a few times. I've seen what it is. But yeah, it's I mean, that's the difficulty for Gavin from is always presenting as being very interested in selling lots of copies and making lots of money, and that being like the main driver. So you're going to open yourself up to people making that critique if that's how you present. I think Gavin's quite interesting and has some interesting things to say, but he started up that second channel called Scientia Ludos, and it's all just about marketing and how to make a game that, you know, makes people produce 3% more dopamine and stuff like that. And I think when you present yourself that way as being like a LinkedIn game developer, you know, like a business first game developer, then people are going to make those type of criticisms of what you're doing. Just like, you know, I think the criticism I would be most open for when I'm doing Dirt World is that is the opposite. It's a completely unmarketable game that is just an amalgamation of weird stuff that I think is cool. But I mean, I come from the Newgrounds era and the early Devolver era where that's what indie games were. It was just some person's weird view of what was cool, and I'm quite happy to, if that's the kind of criticism that I get, then I'm quite happy with it, because it's totally in line with what I'm comfortable with and my own kind of ethos and ethics and stuff. Weird little guys are perfect marketing. Everyone likes a weird little guy because deep down we're all a weird little guy. I'm using guy in a very gender neutral way here, but... Ding dong! Oh, don't crash my computer again. If this text message crashes the game again, then I'm not answering any more text messages from the cool teacher. From the cool teacher, Raccoon. Can we make LinkedIn game dev to be like a new sort of slur that we call people that are too business brained? You're a LinkedIn dev. LinkedIn devs having a company of one person and then still holding stand-up meetings and talking about KPIs, and they've got a chart of profits, and they give a presentation, and they stand at the front of the room and they give the presentation, and then they go and sit in a chair and they ask themselves questions. That's what LinkedIn devs are like. You've been redeemed, Mayo. I think you need both sides. I think that's the thing, is you do need both sides. You need the commerce side if you're ever gonna sell something and, you know, market it, or sell something to someone else and not get screwed over by a publisher or whatever. You do need that. You know, like the production discipline to actually finish something in the first place is a commercial motivated thing, because it's like, how do I stop wasting my time not finishing this thing? But you need that side of things, and you need the kind of crafts side of, how do I make something good? How do I make something that deserves to exist? And the things that have the best chance of success are the things that sit exactly in the middle of those two things. And there's never there's never going to be a perfect, you know, focus on this, not on that, because the whole job of doing a creative business is to straddle those two things and walk that line and find the thing that can be commercially successful while also actually being worth making. But there's overlap, because if you make something and you don't put your heart into it, and you're making something that you're not well equipped to make because you're just chasing trends and stuff, then audiences will know and they will just avoid the thing you're making, because there's always a better version of that. Let's play a trash game. That's what I do. That's what I do every day. Ayo. Yeah, this game has been on my list for a little while after I heard about it on a podcast, and it's really interesting how short and narrative focused the first act is, and then it really does become this very slow stock market game. But it's fine for chatting over. I'm wondering if this will end once we've got a bean in each of these. I don't know. So maybe I should actually be selling these things as well, but I don't. Call the Gamebulance. There's been a murder. Yeah, I've not been doing the buying and selling investments thing, and that was because you shuffle the values of these after each time you do finance. So it's kind of like each time you do finance, you then need to pay attention to whether these have gone up or down and then switch. So I think this could have gone a lot quicker if I'd have been really paying attention to that, but... So that's the cheapest one at the moment. So there's no point in selling that to buy any of the others, because the others cost way more, so... To whom are we selling the trash? We're just selling it on the trash market. I think it's best not to think too hard about these things. The only way you can survive at this level of business is to not think too hard about existential questions like, you know, what am I doing with my life? Who's buying this trash? Okay, I'm going to use finance, so this is going to shuffle the values of all of these things. So now that is worth more than that, so I'll sell all of my natural resources and buy all of those stocks. Right, that's how I should have been playing it from the beginning. Got it now. And now that's the cheapest, so we'll buy as much as we can there. I think if I'd have actually paid attention to how the actual stocks bit of this game worked, we probably would have been finished with it about 45 minutes ago. But this is the price of rich, craft-focused game design conversation, isn't it? Sometimes it means I don't know how to operate the stock market anymore. All of my amazing stock market knowledge just flies out of my head as soon as we start talking about anime, waifus, and mechs. See you later, Smugpire. Have a good weekend. Halloween next week, isn't it? Halloween. On Thursday next week, I think we're playing Brine and Frog Legs for Indies Under the Knife, which were two kind of mildly horror-themed boomer shooters. I thought I'd put them together. I didn't want to do actual horror games for Halloween because I always end up getting quite grumpy when we do horror games because they're usually just not really games. I think not really a game is such a cheap critique you can give to any game. It's such a cheap thing to say. I think a lot of horror games operate very similar to just riding on a ghost train, and that makes it very difficult to give any useful game design feedback to them because it's like the player isn't really doing anything. Finance, we're going to shuffle the stock market again. Okay. That has not really made anything more valuable than anything else, so we'll leave that for now. Does anyone have any sort of game dev deadlines or milestones coming up? Anyone launching anything? Anyone got any events they're taking anything to? Seamus, have I played anything you've made yet? I feel like Seamus has been on the channel since day one, and I don't feel like I have a mental idea of what Seamus is making. Replicate coming out November 18th. Replicat. So Brainoid has been making Replicat, which is a pairs turn over the cards game with upgrades and an economy and stuff, and cool cats. Quite like that. I really love it when there is a game where I think I'm not going to like the core activity of the game and then I end up finding it strangely compelling, which is what happened with me with Replicat. Ella, starting a new games job totally counts. What is the new games job? I mean, I feel like getting any job in games right now is definitely to be celebrated. I basically can't get games in jobs and get jobs in games now unless they're in stinky free-to-play companies or education companies, and I don't want to do either of those things. So it's partly why I started the channel. Dragon meat. Oh, that's cool. I went to UK Games Expo in 2022, I think was the last time I went to that. I went to it, we took students to it who had made tabletop games, and I had my tabletop game, and I also dressed up as a wizard. And I went around the expo dressed as a wizard and asked people wizard type questions. That was fun. Ah, non. Maybe, yeah, maybe to make the self-imposed deadlines work, maybe they need to be related to something external, you know? Like, I have a self-imposed deadline on my game at the moment that I'm gonna get an alpha build out in December. But that's like, you know, I've told other people that now, and it has a specific, like, output. Like, there will be a particular type of itch build with these features in, and then I'll start pestering people to play it, and that makes it more real. Sometimes if you just say, oh, I'll do this thing by Thursday, then it's like, yeah, but why? Which card game is... Oh, Kitten, was that the one you were sharing the art for the other day, with the, like, mountains in the background? That sounds interesting, Seamus. When Ibby and I were looking at language learning games on our podcast, we found some interesting ones where you sort of like flew around and engaged with objects to learn words and stuff, but they were still very like focused on nouns, because it was like the designer hadn't really worked out how to make it not just a game about noun vocab. Like, oh, it's a pen. Here's the word for pen. So it'd be interesting to see what you're doing there, because I still don't think anyone's really cracked certain... I mean, I guess language is just such a big topic that you can't make one set of mechanics that teaches all of it. Sometimes you've got to adopt a cute little dragon. Well done, Zoe. Got another bean. Need one more. Okay. These are worth 150, so death is cheapest now. We've got a group chat, business group chat with the LinkedIn Raccoons. What's going on? We're going on a road trip. Why have you... We're going to the Raccoon Coast to chill, dude. You need to chillax. Had you considered that surprising me was the least chillaxing option? the So we're going to the beach. I like that they're kind of playing around with just the too much text thing as an actual kind of like social joke. Of like, I do not want to engage with these characters and they are sending me too many text messages, and it's kind of done on purpose for comedic effect. Seamus has been testing games on students. That sounds like a deadline, yeah. I think deadlines just work best when there's a why to them. Oh, this has to be done by this date so that the next thing can happen. Easier to stick to then. Hard to stick to if there's not really a rationale behind them. Seamus, do you have language students or do you have game students? What kind of students are testing it? If it's game students, they'll just be like, yeah, can you put... I want there to be a gun. Why is there no gun in this game? Why is there no bombs? This isn't a game. Why isn't there magic organised into 4 easily recognisable elements? If I go to any expos for Dirt World next year, do you think I should make a massive Lem suit? I've not even really locked the character design in my head. I'm very tempted to get a pixel artist to give it a go over and make it a better character, because it's not really at the same standard of quality as the rest of the game, I don't think. Seamus, that sounds cool. Yeah, so you're using deduction as the gameplay mechanic, and you're deducing what the words are from... So you see the meaning, and then you try and deconstruct the words that describe the meaning. That's a neat way of thinking about it, because it engages you a little bit more actively. Look, I think, I think thinking about the effectivity of a particular festival or whatever is difficult, isn't it? Because you can never really gauge it. There's always a bit of a gamble, and I've seen people say, oh, I took this to this thing and I didn't really get anything out of it. So, well, you don't know that because you might have met someone who's going to be really pivotal to you in like 2 years' time. That's kind of the thing with networking. I don't think you can always go into these things with a very set idea of what the output is meant to be. Obviously, if you do too many of them and you're not getting anything out of it, then you're probably wasting your time, but yeah, they're not the sort of thing you can LinkedIn dev KPI the value of, you know. That's a good motivator, Seamus. You've just given me a mental picture of there's like this island somewhere off of China where people go to make Steam accounts. Steam Island. Okay, everyone's hungover from their road trip and Money Baby is missing. That was my speed read of that chat combo. I can speed read a group chat. It's not my first rodeo. So I remember the first time I heard about Ingress. So if you don't know, Ingress is the game that Pokemon Go was based on. And the way Ingress works is there are maps, nodes on the map, which are basically where the gyms are now. And you're on the blue team or the green team, and you capture areas of the map through triangulation. So you create a set of 3 nodes, and that captures that area of the map. And the first time I heard about Ingress, because I'd never played it, never heard of it, I went to a conference back in, like, I don't know, 2013 or something. And there was a researcher there from China, I'm going to say. Maybe it was Hong Kong. But they were saying that the Ingress players out there were so trollish. Because they would do things like... There was one case of there were people living on an island, and the players from the other team went to all of the surrounding islands and captured a triangle over the entire island, and that meant that anyone who lived on that island could not play anymore. Unless they literally got on a boat and went off the island to fix the situation with the entire island being captured. I thought that was interesting. It's amazing the lengths people go to when you make a game that it feels more than a game, that sort of extends out. It's kind of like that, you know, gambling with real money effect we were talking about earlier. I mean, all of the infrastructure for Pokemon Go existed long before Pokemon Go. I think Nintendo would never have licensed it if the company didn't already have all that stuff in place. Right, we're going to do the finance shuffle now, and this is at 100. If it stops being the cheapest, we're going to sell all these. Okay, it's no longer the cheapest, so we'll sell these and convert them to natural resources. Stonks. We'll do the death gamble, even though I don't have much money to lose. Ingress. I think people still do play Ingress. I don't know. Let me I'm gonna quickly have a look on here. See if it's still open. It would be weird if it is though, because it... Yes. So Niantic made a separate startup company called Niantic Spatial. So they made a sort of child studio to take over Ingress, and that's news from this year, so still running. I mean, it's mechanically very different from Pokemon Go, because you're going around like hacking these nodes to take them over. And although that does work a bit like gyms, it just doesn't have the Pokemon bit, so it's much more focused on the geolocation and less on the what do you have in your inventory part. Like, Pokemon Go is structured in such a way that you can just play in your town and not really go anywhere and probably still have fun with it, whereas I got the impression with Ingress that it is a travel-based game. Like, people deliberately travel just to go and take over a node for their side. I think the way Pokemon Go works, it's much more like you go to a city for something else, and then while you're there you have a little look around and you see, you know, what the gyms are and stuff. I don't know, I never got super into it. Too much going. That's the problem with Pokemon Go. Too much emphasis on the go. Not so much the mon. Right, we're going to do a finance shuffle again. And now natural resources is back up, so we're going to sell those. We're going to buy culture. We got a bean. We can get another level 3 bean thing. Yeah, the in-game music is very well chosen for this type of game. It is the music from the game. I haven't really noticed whether it's changed or not in this chapter. So we're buying death this time. We're investing in death. We're selling it, and then we're gonna buy natural resources. We're gonna do a culture boost, which is gonna put our sale price right up, and I have to try and sell at the last moment. Did it? I'm glad that none of the upgrades have been like, you can do this thing more frequently, because that would make the game feel less chilled. The upgrades have just modified how the abilities work and made the payouts on them potentially higher and stuff like that, rather than, you can do this every 10 seconds now, which would be not good for the type of game it is. I don't want to cash those stocks out into a bean yet, because I might be able to, if I do, we'll do finance now. Oh no, oh yeah, we've made it cheaper, that's okay, that's not a bad outcome. Okay. Double win. Okay, we need to get recover from trash market crashes faster. That sounds good. We'll go for that next. Double win. Yeah, I think if you're making something like that, then the chill music is a must. I mean, look at, what's its schedule? Is it schedule 1? Schedule 11? I always get the numbers in games mixed up. The weed farming game, that has very kind of chilled music like this in it as well, and it makes that kind of job simulator work quite well, I think. I think the trick is to not think of it as like a series of tasks, but if you want a game that is just a series of tasks to not feel too repetitive, then there needs to be like a very small amount of skill involved in trying to spot opportunities, which is kind of what I'm doing as I play this. It looks like I'm not really doing anything, but I'm watching the sale price. I'm occasionally looking for when my things are ready, and then I'm trying to do them in the right order. So there is some crunch going on here. There's some kind of like thought I'm having to put into what I'm doing. And it's because it's not just a set of activities, it's a little set of judgments about what's best to do right now, what are the opportunities, that kind of thing. Now, this is very repetitive, but the order I'm doing things in is quite different because I'm having to like look at the situation and judge it constantly. Yeah. Yeah, the player needs to like a little kind of efficiency puzzle of thinking about the order of what they're doing and stuff like that. Boxhead, do you have any thoughts on games as an experience but doesn't have the conventional gaming rewards and mechanics? I'm just having a think about that. Yeah, it depends what you mean, Boxhead. I mean, are you talking about... There's lots of games that don't have rewards or, like, obvious game mechanics, but I think if you want to make something like that, then it's a case of just exploring what's already out there. Like, walking sims are one of those... The thing to understand about walking sims is the player is still doing something. It's just not obvious from watching what they're doing on the screen because they're doing it in their head. So if you play, like, Gone Home... The player is going around and taking bits of information to put a story together in their head. And the reason why something like Gone Home works so well is that the game doesn't just tell you the story. The game gives you pieces of information and leaves things out, and that means there is interactivity. It's not interactivity at the point of like I'm clicking on lots of things on the screen and doing lots of things, but I'm taking the information and I'm sort of solving a mystery in my head, which is similar to what people do when they read like a detective mystery book or something. And then you've got things like Hypnospace Outlaw, where you're just sort of navigating information on a computer and stuff like that. I don't know. I don't know. When you say have you got any thoughts on them, I don't have any thoughts on how to do them well, other than to just make sure you're playing those kind of games and seeing how they do things, because that will give you ideas. And think about what's going on in the player's head rather than the mechanics that you can directly see on the screen. Okay, well, we're gonna go for that. That's the cheapest one at the moment. So da 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 da. Do a shuffle. Oh, that was good. That worked out well for us. I could get quite into this stonks. I think the thing is to always just keep thinking about what you want your player to be experiencing and thinking about as they do the thing. Which sounds really vague, but when you're making something like a horror game, it's easy to focus on that because it's just like, is it scary? But every game design is like that. Like if you're trying to make something that is driven by the player making strategic choices, then what tools are you giving them to be able to do that? If you're trying to make a game that is totally driven by atmosphere, like exploring a place and feeling a mood, what are you doing to make sure that that is interesting and varied and stuff like that? And the more strict you are with what your game is about, the easier you can make those decisions, because you haven't decided to make a strategy game and a story game at the same time. You might have to do both at some point, but starting off with just like one type of experience and then branching out from there once you know that that's good, I think that that is a good way of thinking about it. Okay, so they are worth more now. Let's do the finance shuffle first. Okay, this is cheapest, so I'll just leave that where it is for now. I think we did well. We did well on that one. We've got some new text messages. See, I found a weird image online. I have no... It doesn't make sense to me, at least. Do you have any friends you could show it to? I thought that's what I was doing. Aha, right, sorry. I don't think it's like gross weird or anything, just confusing. Send the weird image. That feeling when Submarine Chan resurfaces in Season 3. They're trying to understand memes now. We've built the stock market before memes. Oh, they're talking about Sailor Don't Sink, which is the thing that the person collects the figurines from. It's cute. They're making friends. They're gonna watch anime together. Sir, I have a request. Okay, sure. First, though, is there any way you could stop calling me sire? You're the only one who does it, and it honestly sucks. No, sire, I apologize, but I am duty-bound. By who? You're the weirdest. By the laws of the remainder. The other collectors also call you sire, but they are not allowed direct contact. Tell them to stop. You should all just stop. I cannot, sire. We would all risk the incinerator for this transgression. That sounds bad. I thought you all just joined the remainder. You can mess up so bad that doesn't happen. Yes, of course, the incinerator waits for us all, thus we must obey. What did you want? I would like permission to war with other trash collectors. Other species handle the remainder but do not obey our laws. They are destined for the incinerator regardless, but we can hasten their arrival. I'm sorry, give me a second to process. You want to start a holy trash war? It's a no from me. Please calm down with this stuff. So that character is the person that leads the trash collections, and they're basically turning into a Warhammer 40k character before our very eyes. Or perhaps they always were. Yeah, we're quite deep into the game now. Like there was a first act where you are just raccoons developing sentience and learning about human culture. And then, at some point you get this tipping point where you get a raccoon stock market and everything. I think we're reasonably close to finishing this. I'm gonna go for another hour on this. And then finish up for the day, because I think we might be able to finish this. We made $1 trillion. You are the mayor of my butt, sire. I feel like I have to say this every time you send a message, Dirt. But wow, I hated all of that. I'm planning to buy a larger, more powerful butt. My liege, soon all will see the remainder's glory reflected in its image. I'm gonna buy a big gun that just shoots money. Awesome. Spread that wealth around like butter. I'll let the teachers know they're all getting raises. Lamau. No raises yet. That's how you lose money. We want to keep the money, that's the game. Shouting over the sound of the guillotine blade sharpening. Haha, okay. These are like, they're like the kind of advisors that you get in SimCity that represent different interests. I'm not going to read all of this, it's too long, but very, very funny. Everyone in our whole society is getting a pizza, that's good. Excellent. Okay. 5 stocks there. The unit price is going right up. I don't know how we managed to make trash selling so lucrative in a world that is just all trash, but I can't complain. I mean, a minute ago one of the raccoons said we're the dominant species on the planet, so we must have managed to start recycling our own trash into trash. I don't really understand how any of this works. That's $1 trillion now. These are still in the billions. That's the first time we're getting into like $1,000 per unit of trash. Good stuff. Yes. Gonna have so many beans to spend in a minute. I have an announcement. I put a bomb in everyone's phones, and if anyone texts over 55 words, they will explode. Okay? I mean, I can... That's 5 words. Do you have this little work to do? I'm allowed to have fun. Oh, was it fun when you brought the network that owns basketball sparklers and cancelled it? You're acting old action movies, but I can't watch my beautiful basketball princess. I see, so the show was similar to my proposed medical care expansions. They were also shut down for any lack of profit. This one with the little scarf is the little medical doctor one. He's very upset that no one's giving him any money. Yeah, so much text. I'm not going to read it all on the stream. It's just too long. And I want to see where the game goes after this stage. Whenever the number gets too high, it just turns into lol. This is this is the late game state of it just whenever it's higher than it can display, it just says lol. See, that's fun. You don't want to let people get into that state for too long, right? This is what I was saying about like broken builds. You let people get a broken build in a game of optimization or a game of like strategy, and then let them play with it for a little while and then stop, because otherwise they'll just won't be playing a game anymore. We're using many practices to produce energy and goods that are destroying our environment. Uh-oh. That sounds bad. Me no likey. Stop laughing, this is awful. It's extremely dumb to mess up the planet. I'm a big fan of the planet generally. Wish I used it more, but whatever. I'm glad we all agree. I've written up a 10-year plan that will let us cut emissions down to a more manageable level. The full scope of change will take much longer, but this immediate change will buy us more time to plan. Sounds good, Doc. Thanks. I'm checking out the plan now. I hate to be rude, but I'm looking at the plan, and it seems like we're going to make less money. That's not good. It's true that at first it will cost us to fix this problem, but things will eventually normalise. Even though we inefficiently allocate our current resources, we currently have more than enough. But is there a way to fix this and make more money? Put bluntly, no, there is not. Okay, pass. There is no passing here. If we do not act, we will die. The remainder will provide. If destruction is our fate, it was destined. If we find salvation, it is only through the remainder. The only action needed is worship. Checking over your numbers here, and I'm not sure if I agree. It's a pass for sure. There is no agreeing or disagreeing. The facts are all there in plain view. Are they really facts, though? Seems like there's some wiggle room. Wow, I'm shocked. Hold on, I'm about to pass out over here. Of shock, to be clear, from the fact that Money Baby would rather die than lose money. There's got to be some kind of compromise here, right? What if we make money 1 year and then fix this the next? Sort of a trade-off. That's not possible. Okay. Big fart noise to the money idiot. Oh, gravity gives me an idea. What if we just cut this planet as a loss and head to space to find another one? I bet we do a way better job starting from scratch anyway. I can divert some funds to rockets because they're really cool. Oh, who does that sound like? This is a bad plan. Every time you send a new message, it's even clearer that you don't care. Well, I'm the CEO, so what I say goes. But TK is the mayor. Yes, I'm the mayor. Does mayor outrank CEO? I think we can find a compromise. Sure. I bet we can find a way to make everyone happy and we'll all be fine. I mean, most of my ideas seem like they'd achieve that, so can we talk about something that's less of a bummer now? Has anyone noticed how hot it's getting lately? Oh dear. Oh dear. The Raccoon Times as the world burns. Money Baby named issue number 24. The Raccoons have had civilization for 24 issues of their newspaper, and they have it's act 4. I thought we were in a second act and going into a third act. I can't access business botany anymore. It's quite on fire, isn't it? I have a thing to drop prices on these. I'm not sure what they're doing. I don't know what these are. I'm scared. I'm scared. Oh no, culture's gone. We don't have culture anymore. Oh no. Oh no, we've got no culture. I don't think we're gonna have any. Yeah, we don't have natural resources anymore. I'm sorry. We've got bones. We've got an infinite supply of bones. They're not going out of style. Oh no, we're losing bones now. I think I won. I trashed the planet. The massive blaze that engulfed almost 50% of our planet is showing no sign of slowing down. Transcontinental fires have left millions homeless, injured, and dead. Raccoons worldwide are waiting for Mayor TK to announce a comprehensive plan to fight these fires and reverse the climate change that is widely believed to have caused the blazes. Who will you ask to help build your plan to save the world? Dr. Raccoon, probably a good idea. Money Baby to create loans and tax incentives to businesses willing to fight fires and produce. I'm gonna ask Dr. Raccoon. The fires are really bad and I'm scared. I'm so pleased to hear that, Mayor TK. Let's get started immediately. So what should we do? Well, to start, I'd like to form a committee to examine social welfare and environmental programs. I understand things are dire, but rash action could make it worse. But the world is extremely on fire. Yes, and I sympathise, of course. I simply don't want to make things worse. So what if we start distributing funds and supplies? And shut down the businesses hurting the climate? It's an emergency. It's like you aren't listening, Mayor TK. We both want the same thing here. Let's talk about money, for example. We can't simply hand out funds to people. We must determine who needs the money, otherwise we're wasting it. And if we shut down other raccoons' businesses simply because we claim they're causing harm, what kind of precedent does that set? Again, it's an emergency, so it feels like we should just start helping. We can figure out the rest later. I'm not sure we'll be able to work together after all. Really, Doc? The main issue is that I've been informed by Money Baby's associates that I no longer have any access to government funds or political power. Oh, jeez. I'm in a rough spot too. Money Baby actually locked me in my apartment. That's why I asked for help. Your apartment locks from the outside? You have no additional key? Yeah. There are a lot of things about this setup that are coming into focus now. I wonder how much power I ever really had, and how much sooner I would have needed to act. Sending all my regrets, old friend. We've really stepped in it this time. Back to checking the news anxiously, I guess. This really sucks. 1 month later. Panic in the streets. Cities across the globe are rocked by unrest after failed attempts to fight the blaze that's quickly engulfing the globe. Reports of violence, looting, and even arson are overwhelming authorities across the world. Mayor TK is expected to make a statement at a press conference this afternoon. Who will you ask to help write your statement? I don't remember who Vanilla is, but maybe that's the point. Maybe Vanilla is not a very characterful character. I'm gonna get Cool Teacher. I'm gonna get Cool Teacher to send the message. Lamau, are you really making a speech? Yes. My fellow raccoons need to hear from me. Oh, really? And what do they need to hear? That I will fix things. And is that in any way true? Not yet. You know, I'd like to laugh, but this is so depressing, honestly. What we need right now is solidarity between working raccoons. That's the only way forward. Okay, I'm writing this down. I truly think this won't help or even register coming from you, but whatever. Thanks anyway. I'll do my best. I mean, the whole world's on fire. I don't think we can do much at this stage. Mayor TK's speech earlier this week calling for worker solidarity sparked a wave of organized protest from the burgeoning working raccoon movement that was swiftly and violently crushed by Mayor TK's own government. This sudden reversal prompted many to label the mayor a trickster and a traitor. I want you to know that it was Money Baby who crushed the protest. I'm locked in my apartment. You're the most embarrassing raccoon alive. Fine, don't listen to my reasonable points. Everything is a very good recommendation. That's the Alan Watts game. The collapse of society appears imminent as most major cities are abandoned and hollowed out by the fire. The few remaining governments are breaking down after months of unrest and unchecked wildfires. With Mayor TK experiencing record lows in popularity, millions of protesters are now calling for the mayor to produce a plan to ensure raccoon survival. Who will you ask to help you protect the remaining raccoons? Anyone but Money Baby. Money Baby has retreated to a bunker. It's a bad look when the incompetently evil person acts like they're better than the actively evil person. Ooh, yes, interesting. Yeah, Money Baby's the evil person, but I didn't effectively stop them. I mean, the game didn't give me a choice, but I didn't effectively stop them, so I shouldn't act better than them. Yeah, I'm not gonna like read all of this out loud because it's so fast and I want to finish this stream soon, but this is really neat. It's very, very rare that you play a video game that ends you up in a apocalyptic scenario and took you all the way there as a perpetrator of the collapse. Very bleak, but hey. That's why it's on itch as a free game and not a thing that's like, hey, buy this piece of entertainment, you'll have a fun time. Because we have a fun time for a little while, and then it becomes kind of bleak towards the end. Please, let's retain some sense of decorum. I've got everything handled on my end. The supplies are headed out. I can see the fire outside my home now. It's dancing in my eyes. I can see it too. I think everything's almost over. Oh, I think I see it too. I know it means my brain is... Oh. It keeps skipping away from the last bit of text when I try and read it. It's not even me clicking. Congrats everyone, that's a wrap for the Raccoons. In the span of a few months, society has completely collapsed. As the leaders of all remaining nations fled for safety, Mayor TK sent out a message to all raccoons stating a desire to go down with the ship. Despite this message, rumors persist among the mayor's critics that Mayor TK lost control of the government months ago and has since been locked in their apartment in the raccoon capital. The capital has so far avoided the worst of the fires, but in the last week, the final defenses around the perimeter have fallen. As one of the only cities left on the planet succumbs to this disaster, the staff of Raccoon News Network must also sign off. We hope that raccoons may still have a future somewhere. Good night. Who will you talk to in your final moments? I feel like talking to Money Baby would be the most pleasing ending, so we're going to do that. Sure, what's hot these days? Are things looking any brighter? Am I getting warmer? They're trying to make jokes. Trying to make jokes. You ruined the world. You ruined the whole planet, and you even stopped us from pulling it back from the brink at the last minute, and you're making the worst jokes. Because you're a LinkedIn raccoon. I bet you didn't even write those jokes. I bet you got ChatGPT to write those jokes for you. We made the biggest fortune of all time. And I'm totally fine. In fact, I'm having fresh oysters delivered to my bunker's jacuzzi. Why did I think I could make you feel guilty? The real question is, why don't you seem to feel any guilt? I was just a figurehead. You said yourself I had no power. Sure, but I think it was pretty obvious what was going on. If I could give myself one critique, it's that I was blatantly corrupt. If I could do it over, it'd be fun to try to be sneakier. This is a message to all of Moneybaby's disgusting associates. We have taken over the bunkers from those who bled us dry. The world that remains belongs to the workers. Okay, cool. Tell Moneybaby I said bye, lol. Sounds like Moneybaby got his comeuppance. Trash consciousness. I like the fact that those dialogue trees, I mean, it feels like you could lock yourself out of options and then not be able to see the other options unless you played through the whole clicker game again, which I think is neat. It makes the options feel like they have some weight. The fires have mostly subsided. We're one of the last groups of raccoons. We wander in search of food. Trash is everywhere, though little of it is edible or valuable. We work to clear it away. Everyone needs food. We all work hard so everyone has an equal share. A better world is possible. We're trying to build it one day at a time. As we clear, we create a place for a community. The work is hard. The result isn't perfect, but we survive by supporting each other. Oh yeah, the game totally pulls a fast one on you by initially being a tycoon game about being raccoons and then just totally becomes a apocalyptic satire about late stage capitalism. We stay busy, but we never build beyond the needs of the group. We discuss, plan, fail, succeed, strive, and struggle to create something new for ourselves. At night, our group tells stories about the mistakes of the past. In the morning, everyone works to fix what we can. Let's trash the planet. What game by this game is haunted? Very cool. Kind of really, you know, sometimes when you see something that someone's made and you're like, well, there's no point me trying to ever do anything like that now, because that exists. Kind of gives me that feeling. Special thanks to the coffee shop. I want to find out about... Have they done anything else? This game is Haunted. We're a small team of game makers in Portland, Oregon. Okay, and then they've got other games here. What will you do in your day off? Collect decorations for your shell. Turn-based dance battles with demons. Clothes encounters. So yeah, it's a recurring team local to a town that make games together. And it looks like that was the most recent thing they made, so I imagine a lot of these other ones are kind of smaller jam games. Neat. Neat. It's almost as if you can make better things with other people by, you know, than you can on your own. But being able to work with other people takes a long time to develop, so you need to make smaller things together first before you make a big thing together. It's almost like that. I'm going to log off now, folks, because I need to go and get some food. Thanks for joining today. I will continue to do a couple of hours on Friday where we just play something that I've been meaning to play for a while and just talk about it and whatever you guys are working on. So thank you if you popped in with questions about games, or it was good to see everyone's updates on the stuff they're working on earlier. People posting their was. And yeah,